So now I would like to welcome our speaker, Faaria Wali. Faaria is the Business Development Manager at Futurpreneur Canada, where she collaborates with partners in our ecosystem as they help entrepreneurs launch and grow their businesses. She also facilitates workshops on digital marketing, customer discovery, and business planning. Faaria is also an entrepreneur with specialties in experiential, event, and digital marketing. Welcome, Faaria.
Oh, hey everyone. So excited to be here. This is my third Founder Fundamentals, I think. So it's so nice to see all of you and all of your faces. Thank you for spending your dinner time with me tonight. I promise it'll be worth it. So let's get right into it. I can talk about this stuff all day and I can go on and on about it. So I want to make sure we have enough time for all of this good stuff we're going to be talking about today. As Diana mentioned, at like 7-ish, we'll take a little bit of a quick break to kind of regroup and dig right back into it in the end. So let me share my screen so you can have a look. See. So my name is Faaria. I am a business development manager at Futurpreneur Canada. I'll talk a little bit about Futurpreneur and who we are in a few slides. I'm an entrepreneur. So as much as I love working with you as entrepreneurs and going through all of the business planning, it comes from a place where I have been an entrepreneur. I ran street team staffing for quite some time. And we're an experiential marketing agency, promotional staffing, face-to-face marketing. So you can imagine the pandemic has hit my business pretty hard. I run some other businesses too that have gone, really well, and others not so great. Okay. And I also have a ton of ideas that haven't even gotten off the ground. So when it comes to all of the different emotions we have as entrepreneurs, I've probably felt it all. So I definitely want to hear from you tonight and hear your questions. And if I can lend any advice that way, I'm more than happy to. So a little bit of housekeeping. We're going to talk a little bit about Futurpreneur. We'll talk a little bit about Futurpreneur at the end and what our program offering is. Thank you for the introduction from Ella and from the Small Business Center in Markham. I want to make a really cool note about the small business enterprise centers that are in your local area. It's free. Attend any of their workshops, seek advice and coaching from any of their small business advisors. You're in for a real treat because this is kind of what we do all day. It's kind of our thing, and we're really excited to meet with new entrepreneurs every day. And whenever you can take advantage of these types of programming, please do. It's really, really smart to bounce your ideas off of everybody who will listen, and that's what we're here for. So I do want to encourage you all to ask questions. Use the reactions button. I can't see everyone right now, but Diana will interrupt me. Use the chat box. So if you're not feeling so bubbly and wanting to be on camera today, no worries. Just type your question in the chat box and we'll have a little bit of designated Q&A time where we're going to review all of that info. Okay. If you do have questions about your specific business, we can definitely have some time at the end where we're talking a little bit about that. And of course, I'm going to share my contact information. I'll share the links to all the things I talked about today as well. And Diana has a whole email for me that she's going to send out to everyone after the session today. So a little bit about us here at Futurpreneur. We are a national organization, coast to coast. We serve entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39 with our financing program. And we also have our educational resources. Now, if you are young at heart and you don't quite meet our age range, no worries. All of our educational resources that I'm going to talk about today are free for everyone to use. And if you are interested in our programming and think you could use some financing and are within that age range, we can definitely take that conversation offline and talk a little bit more about your needs that way. Okay. A little bit about us here at Futurpreneur. So we are supporting more than 12,000 businesses and counting. And my favorite stat on this slide is that 45% of our businesses are majority owned by women. So all of you female founders in the room, if this is your first business, if this is your second career, if this is something you're kind of just going all in and taking the plunge, please press ahead. Don't wait for perfection. Let's try to get this number up to 50%. That's going to be really exciting. So a little bit about the business planning process that I'm going to talk about today is going to come from our Futurpreneur Business Resource Center. And more importantly, our business plan writer. So in our Futurepreneur Business Resource Center, you can find a lot of really rich, cool material about entrepreneurs who have been in your shoes where you're sitting today, have pivoted their businesses through the pandemic, who've done some really cool and neat things in entrepreneurship. And we also have a lot of really great tools and templates to use. Don't try to start things from scratch. Use what's out there. Use the experience that is already out there from your fellow entrepreneurs. And that includes the business plan writer. The business plan writer was created at Futurepreneur using samples and examples of real life Futurepreneur supported businesses. So Diana is going to send that link over to you after the session today. And essentially all of the material we talk about today is going to be from the business plan writer and will help you get your business plan off the ground. Okay. I wanted to launch a poll just to get a feel for where you all are with your business. Okay, let's share the results with everyone. So everyone in the room today is pretty kind of, some of you are at the idea stage, some are just getting started. Quite a few of you, 10 of you have already launched a business. That's really neat. And some of you don't have any ideas just yet, which is so okay. You're still in the right place. And I hope today can be valuable for you as well. Cool. So now you know kind of a little bit more about your fellow entrepreneurs. I do want to make one sort of announcement. We are all living work from home life. This is dinner time, so I do appreciate your time. If you have anyone who joins you on screen, any little humans or furry friends, please know that this is a safe space and they're more than welcome. I'm used to it. You may see a few little ones running through this door if I don't keep time. So just wanted to mention that as well. I think it's really important in this work from home life that we're kind of all adapting, and it's interesting to see everyone's home life and work life merge into one these days. Okay. So I wanted to hear from the group a little bit as we get going and talk a little bit about why a business plan is important. Does anyone have any insights on that or wants to kind of shout out any thoughts about that?
Well, especially if you're going after financing, you definitely need a business plan.
You got it, Mo? Anyone else? There's no right or wrong answer.
Another option is if you need commercial insurance. I'm trying to get a quote on commercial insurance and they want a business plan for my business.
Interesting. Jeff, what's your business?
E-trike tours.
Cool.
So
Okay.
because of the commercial liability,
Yeah.
they want a business plan. And a business plan also lets you know if you're on track.
Yep.
Going
You got
forward, you're not finding out at the end of the year that you messed up somewhere.
You got it. Linda?
To determine a direction for your business.
You got it. Perfect. You all hit all of the points that I was going to make. It's a roadmap. It's a roadmap for your business. Some of you will use it as a manual or to-do list, a massive to-do list for your business. It's great for lenders and investors and commercial insurance adjusters who need to see that you have your plan mapped out for your business. Another thing that your business plan does, and I speak from experience, it's going to hold your hand through the fun stuff and the not so fun stuff. So when you're approaching your business plan, you may love, your marketing strategy piece. The process and procedures, you're not quite, there. Your attention to details, not your jam. Maybe that's a little bit more challenging for you. Your business plan and each of the sections involved is going to hold your hand through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But at the end of the day, you're going to come out with a document and a roadmap for your business as a 360. So it's really, really key to having this document. One thing I want to mention, your business plan is fluid. The business plan you create today or you get started on tomorrow is going to look very different from your business plan when you launch in year 1, 2, and 3 of your business and so on. So don't think of it as, oh my gosh, I wrote it down in my business plan, it's not happening. That's not going to be, what's happening here with your plan. It's going to be fluid and it's going to be ever changing. Okay. So today we're going to go through the 5 stages of business planning. We're going to talk a little bit about your company profile and that value that your business is bringing to the marketplace. We're going to talk about your market research and understanding your customer, marketing, finding your customer, of course, your operations, which is going to keep them coming through your doors or your virtual doors. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about financing. This was an old slide. Julia's not meeting with you on Thursday, but she's also somebody at Futurpreneur who can help you out with this as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about these things today. So stage 1, we're going to talk a lot about your company profile in terms of your compelling value or your value proposition. Many of you may have heard the term value proposition, where you're listing out the key benefits that you're providing to your customer. In our business plan, and what we like to see, we call it your compelling value. It dives a little bit deeper than a value proposition can. It's elaborating on really the key areas of your business that's going to set you apart from your competition, and why your business is best suited for the marketplace and why you're going to be successful. What's unique about you? What's different? What's cool? And a lot of times that compelling value may very well just be you and your expertise, and that's okay. In these early stages of your business, that may be what you're going to rely on most. But we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. Your product description is essentially what it is. So throughout the business planning process, and you're going to hear me talk about this a lot tonight, you're going to have to be making some decisions. You're going to sit down to write your plan and you have a lot of big dreams, and that's amazing. But for launch, your resources are going to be limited. Your capacity is going to be limited, and you're going to be a little nervous and tentative. So don't overwhelm yourself. If you are a product-based business, don't choose 10 items to launch. Maybe choose 2. If you're a service-based business, especially if you're a one-person show, don't choose, 6 services. Maybe you're just going to focus on the 1 or 2 that you're really, really great at. Okay. And in the company profile section as well, you're also going to talk about your management team. Right now, for some of you, that's going to be maybe just you. We want to really get to know you and your personality through the business plan. Let us know why you are best suited to run this. A lot of you in the room today are industry experts. You've spent many years in your field, many years in your industry. Write your business plan like we know nothing about it. Let us know the ins and the outs and the details, as mundane as they may be. Share with us everything you think that we possibly need to know about your industry, okay, and about your business. And brag about yourself a little bit. Don't be modest, especially you female founders out there. We want to know exactly who you are, and this is your time to shine. If you have, a lot of industry experience, you've been in the industry for 12 years, maybe you worked for a company and now you're going out on your own. Talk a lot about that. If you have a lot of educational background that's related to your business, talk about that too. If you have a degree in, the social sciences and you are opening up a business that's completely unrelated, we don't really need to hear about that. That's not something that's really relevant to your business. And it's not going to add credibility and value to you, bragging about yourself. So it's really a case of you talking a lot about you and why you're best suited to run the business. In stage 1 as well, you're going to want to talk about your business milestones. This is where you're going to dream a little bit. For some of you, maybe you're just starting out online, or you have an e-commerce brand and you have really big dreams to open up a brick and mortar location for your business. If that is in your 2, 3, or 4-year plan for your business, this is where you're going to let us know that. We want to see what kinds of goals and objectives you have for the business, and a little bit more about that long-term planning. Okay, if you just have an e-commerce business that you want to run on the weekends and that's all you want to do for, the next 5 years, that's okay too. Not everybody has, huge growth in mind for their business, but if you do, this is where you're going to indicate that to us. Okay, so it's a little bit about your company profile. It's not as basic and as general as you may think. We really want to get to know you here. Some of the business structures that you're going to share with us in the business plan may look like this. You may be a sole proprietor, you may be a partnership, you may be a corporation. A big question we get asked here a lot is, should I incorporate? For brand new businesses, you're maybe even pre-launch, you haven't made any sales yet. I would say you don't quite have a business to incorporate just yet. So don't get too hung up on these types of details. Worry about, understanding your customer and trying to get some market research and validation for your business first. So I do recommend reaching out to a legal expert to talk a little bit more about this, or your small business enterprise center. I think you are having a legal expert come in as part of the Founder Fundamentals program, right, Diana?
Yep, we do. We do have that one later on in the schedule.
Amazing. So my biggest advice to you with these free workshops, ask this person as many questions as possible. You're a brand new business. Don't spend money on legal fees right now. Talk to as many free legal experts as you can. I'm not the gal for you when it comes to these things, so definitely save that for that workshop. I'm sure that person will have a lot of Q&A time for you, and this is where you're going to want to kind of flesh out some of these business structure pieces. Let's dig right into stage 2 market research, and then after market research, we're going to have some Q&A. Okay, I'm just looking at my clock here next to me. I want to make sure that I'm right on time. So market research is really a really interesting, robust part of the business plan. It can get pretty overwhelming. So again, we want to hear a little bit about your industry. How does your industry work? If you're an industry expert and you've been in your particular workforce or market for decades doing what you do, you may take for granted that those of us not in your industry don't understand what you're talking about. So please be very, very clear about what this looks like. Again, one of the decisions you're going to have to make when you're writing your business plan is, what geographic area are you going to serve? If you're an e-commerce brand, for instance, and you want to sell on Amazon, or if you want to sell, on one of your online stores and you want to reach everybody, that's great. But where are you putting your resources into right now? Where are you spending money on your Facebook ads? Where are you spending money on your paid ads or your SEO? You're really going to want to concentrate in a local geographic area. And we're going to really push you to make that decision, at least for launch. If you have aspirations to be a global company or expand into the US, that's where you're going to indicate to us what some of those dreams look like and some of those milestones and goals for your business look like in stage 1 in those business milestones section. Something that you're going to do in market research as well is talk a lot about your competitors. So we'll talk a little bit about what some strategy looks like for your competitor analysis as well. Some of you may have heard of a SWOT analysis, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we'll talk a little bit about strengths and weaknesses. So for your competitors, what their strengths are can definitely be things to inspire you for your business and things that you can try to emulate or copy. Their weaknesses now are things that they're not doing so great, and some things where maybe their customers aren't completely happy with them for whatever reason. So what you can do in this instance is try to fill in these gaps for your customer. Take your competitors' weaknesses and turn them into your strengths. And you're filling a gap in the marketplace that way. And that way, perhaps your market share can grow. Okay, these are just some things to think about. Your key competitors, and when you during your SWOT analysis, needs to be about 3 to 4 of them. Don't choose really big companies. The big guys are not your direct competitors. They have a lot of resources behind them. If you are a company that is selling commodity products, if you're selling toothbrushes, for instance, Walmart and Amazon are not your competitors. Choose similar sized businesses to benchmark yourself against, or aspirational ones. Maybe they're a year out from where you want to be. Maybe they have just made their first, few $100,000, or maybe they just made their first $1 million. They're a smaller organization that you can really benchmark yourself against or aspire to be. Okay. With your competitor analysis as well, you're going to want to think not only about your direct competitors, but your indirect competitors. So some of you in the room today may have businesses where you say, hey, you know what? Nobody's doing what I'm doing in the marketplace right now. I don't have any competitors. I'm going to be the first one. That's an amazing situation and place to be in. What you need to think about now is the problem you're solving and the solution that you're providing to your customers. Where are they going to now? Where are they going to get their problem solved now? Those are going to be your indirect competitors. So we all have our competitors out there, even if you are a blue ocean of a business. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about for a little bit is your target market. So here at Futurepreneur, we don't talk about your target market per se. We talk about your best customer. This is a term you're going to hear me repeat over and over again tonight. It's going to be ingrained in your mind. So your best customer is going to be the customer that you are going to narrow in on and the persona that you're going to focus on as you launch your business. So for some of you, you can have a business to business or a business to consumer model. Either way, for launch, you need to pick one. You can't be something for everybody. I had an entrepreneur tell me that he has 8 best customers. That's not going to happen for him. It's not realistic. He's going to be sinking a lot of marketing dollars trying to be something for everyone. So this goes back to your compelling value and having a really strong understanding of who you are and how you're going to stay true to that. Okay, what is your offering really going to be? And you really want to be very specific in, here I am, here's who I am, and this is what I have to offer. Who is going to best benefit from my business, from my product or my service? And that person is going to be your best customer. Here we talk a little bit about your 8 to 10 common traits of your customer. You may not have enough data right now in these early stages to have so many. So I would challenge you all to have 4 to 6. I think if you can have 4 to 6 of your best customer, I think that would be a really great situation to be in. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go. So our best advice to you is to choose your best customer. Choose one. Learn who they are, understand their habits, understand where they live, work, and play, how you're going to reach them. And as your customers start coming to you and you're gaining some sales traction, do a little bit of an analysis. Talk to them a little bit, find out a little bit more about their age range, their demographic, what do they like to do, what are some of their habits? And then once you really get to know who is really responding really positively to your product, you can replicate that into other markets. You could replicate that into a B2B model. You could replicate that into another market segment that you want to attract as part of maybe your phase 2 of your business. Okay, so for your launch, we're going to ask you to make a decision and choose one.
So Faaria, we have a question in the chat.
Yep.
This was in regards to your comment earlier. And Shelley's asking, what if your indirect competitors are the big guys? What do you do then?
You can definitely speak to, to a couple of them, but you're definitely going to have to try to find a similar size, smaller type of model of what you're doing. So Shelley, can I ask what your business is, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, not at all. So I have a juice company, a juice bar. And even in a recent poll, I mean, since we've opened, we've been nominated for Best Juice Bar in Toronto each consecutive year. And a lot of the times, while it's 5 nominees, and 3 to 4 of them each year are the big guys. So there is sometimes, a smaller company to compare to, but most of the time, and where majority of my customers, ideal customers are getting the product from are the big guys.
Yeah. So when I hear, congratulations on your success so far, by the way, that's an amazing place to be.
Thank you.
I'm thinking when I hear juicing, like the booster juices of the world, is that considered, big enough for you? Who are some of your...
So booster juice doesn't even make the list, actually. And that's what's like, wow, but I'm being compared to Greenhouse Juice Company. I forget the other one, Big Carrot.
Yep.
And there's another one that's pretty big, and I don't know why the name is slipping me. But then there are one that's a little bit smaller, and it's called like Anti-Vice. So
Yep.
I have the list with them, but the others seem to be quite big.
Okay.
Village
So
Juicery is the other one.
Yes. So Shelly, I've heard of a couple of those. They're big in your world, but they're still very narrow and niche. So when we talk a lot, so they're definitely your indirect competitors. They're actually direct competitors. If there is a shop next to you or an indie cafe next to you that's selling, greenhouse juices, they're definitely going to could potentially be a direct competitor as well. So that is definitely, they're not as big to the rest of us. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay?
yes. They're not Amazons or Walmarts.
No. Or like, any chain juiceries that are popping up out there. That's why I mentioned Booster Juice. Like that's not kind of what you're going after. You're going after a very niche demographic, a very niche best customer. So definitely it totally makes sense for you to have them as part of your competitor analysis.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Shelly, can I pick on you for a minute?
Sure.
If you don't mind. Can you share with me the top 5 traits of your best customer?
The top 5 best traits. So I don't know, the word best is throwing me off. But they're active. They have expendable income. They're very social. Are
men or women?
They're women and in relationships.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, we can dive a little deeper on that. That's I'm really curious to know a little bit more about that, but for sake of time. Okay, so that's an excellent analysis. And the reason that I called Shelly out to be my example is because she's seen a lot of success and sales traction with her business. It means that she has a really strong understanding of who her best customer is. So I knew she was going to give me kind of the answers that I was looking for. So Shelly has talked a little bit about some of these fancy juice companies. They're a little bit pricey. They're not for all of us. I went to a really funny story. I went to Starbucks, my local Starbucks, picked out one of the juices one day and said, I'm gonna try this, and it was $16, and it really threw me off because I've never had a $16 juice before, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to. So I may not be one of your best customers. So talking a little bit about it's a premium price product. That's not going to be for everyone. We talk a little bit about, males and females, men and women. Are you going to be targeting, men going to CrossFit and some of those fitness studios? Or is it more for the women who's more into general mental and physical wellness? Okay. Is it more the yoga studios and the Pilates studios and such? So these types of personas or traits, once you get a really great understanding of who your person is, means that you can go ahead and tailor a lot of your marketing activities towards these individuals. You can build a lot of strategic alliances around where your best customer is already spending time. That's how we look at your best customer. I'm going to give you another example. We have one of our entrepreneurs in residence, Dominic. I tell the story a lot. He loves Pilates. He was really gutted when, COVID shut everything down. Now, in Dominic's Pilates class, he has 20 participants in the class. 18 of them on most days are women.
Yes.
Okay. The Pilates studio is not investing huge marketing dollars and energy into marketing their classes to Dominic. They are going to really focus in on the women who are focused on health and wellness, who are within their certain age range, within the Midtown, the Young and Egg area, because it's a brick and mortar location. They're not really going to be focused on everyone else. It doesn't mean that they're not going to serve everyone else, or they're not going to be, worried about them, but it's the 80-20 rule. Let me focus in on the majority of the customers who are really resonating with my product. So Shelley, you may very well sell to everyone who has those, 4 to 5 habits or traits that you just listed. But there's probably, if you look at your past sales, you did some analysis, you'll see that maybe 26% of your business are people outside of that,
Right.
whoever that may be. But you're really going to channel your energy and your focus in all of the activities for your business towards that majority best customer.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you for being my example, Shelley.
Anytime. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other questions before I move on to another example? Market research is a lot. And it's a stage that many of you may be at in these early stages, just validating your business and trying to explore who your customer is. Another really interesting example, I have an entrepreneur who is launching a premium streetwear brand. So what makes her clothing premium is that she works with organic cotton, sustainable materials, and she's really proud of that. She does her own designs, really great product. She marketed her product during her validation and her testing to 18 to 25-year-olds. She's like, yeah, they're going to wear like really cool street clothes. They're going to appreciate the look and the whole bit. She noticed just from doing a little bit of data analysis on her first 20 customers that in fact, there was not one 18 to 25-year-old who purchased her product. In fact, her target demographic and age range was 30 to 35. They had a little bit more money, a little bit more disposable income. They appreciated the fact that she had this eco-friendly, sustainability spin to her business, and they appreciated that a little bit more than the younger folks. So she realized she had to tailor her marketing strategy accordingly, and she had to change kind of her strategy a little bit there too. So that's just an example of during this market validation piece, you may have to make some changes and adjustments as you learn more about your customer. Okay, let your customer do the talking. Cool. So let me share my screen one more time, and I have one more example. I cannot talk about your best customer enough. Okay. So I can't get the picture to stop moving. This was some feedback I had in another presentation, so I'll skip over the slide pretty quickly. One of our businesses that we support at Futurpreneur is Sleep Out Inc. So they are essentially a portable blinds or curtain for your window, and they're blackout. Okay, so they are targeting new parents, people with sleep issues, business travelers, and shift workers who work nights. So this came out of the founder's struggles with some insomnia, really light sleeper. The light really affects his sleep. So he created this really, really cool product. And these were examples of some of his best customers. Now for launch, they're not going to go with everyone. I think in their time of launch, they were really focused on those business travelers. Of course, the pandemic really affected this, since there were just simply going to be less travelers. So they've decided to go with some of their other targeted personas. Okay, for their launch, to invest some resources in, to do a bit of a test. And then they're going to phase in the other best customers as they go through phase 2 and 3 and so on. Okay, but for launch, again, you have to make the decision and you have to pick one. That's what we're going to encourage you to do. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some market research techniques, and then we can do some Q&A if you'd like. So again, when you're doing your competitor analysis, the easiest and cheapest way to do a competitor analysis is visit your competitors. Do a bit of a stakeout. If you're doing a brick and mortar, location, sit in front of the location for the day, pack some snacks, and scope out who's coming in, who's going out, when are their peak times. This is a lot of really great research that you can get and insight you can get. Be a user yourself. If it doesn't cost too much money, test out your competitor as a customer. Figure out exactly what they do well, where their gaps are, what you liked as a customer, and what you didn't. Okay. My little one in the background there is giving her dad a hard time. So I hope there's no background noise. So another thing you can do, interview successful people in your industry. Find out a little bit more about your idea, bounce your idea off of some of these successful people in the industry. Chances are they're going to want to share about their story. If they've done really well and they really are truly successful, they're going to want to talk about themselves. They're going to want to give you advice. So, you know, your yeses are going to weigh your no's in this scenario. Survey your potential customers. It could be a Google form. It could be like interviews. It could be, you know, reaching out and trying to gain some more insights from people who would potentially use your product. So how to do a customer survey. I'll talk about this really, really quickly. Open-ended questions, and don't ask, will you use this product or will you use my service? 100% of them will say yes. The real question you want to know is, if they were to use it, will they actually pay you for it? Okay, so if you ask some of those open-ended questions about their habits, if you're opening up, you know, a yoga studio, where do you, you know, where do you focus on your fitness? Do you have a gym membership? You know, where are you doing yoga now? Find out a little bit more about their habits to see if you can fill in any gaps in their life with your product. If you can solve any problems in their life with your solution. Okay. You can also attend trade shows and association meetings. If any of you are in professional services, rely heavy on those professional services groups. Okay. You're going to want to do a lot of research within your industry. Something as simple as joining a Facebook group. I know Facebook isn't cool anymore, but they have so many Facebook forums and Facebook groups where people from the same industry are kind of gravitating towards. Okay. Or if Reddit is your jam, or any sort of industry forums that are out there, or blogs where a lot of people are congregating at the same time and are really commenting on industry behaviors and industry challenges that may be prevalent for your business. Okay.
So Faaria,
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. One
Yeah.
question in the chat. Can we choose both a B2B and B2C for our launch?
I'm going to stop sharing for this one because this is a really, really popular question. The answer to that, sometimes it's going to be difficult to say no to this. And I'll tell you why. So I see this is from Shelly. So I'm going to use Shelly's business as an example. Shelly's business is, let's say, Shelly, you're an e-commerce brand, you have your delivery down for your juices, maybe you have a subscription model, whatever it is, it's working out fine, that's great. If you can get into the stores of a really cool health food store chain, or, you know, indie good foods or whatever it is, type of chain, that's going to be really cool for your business, because all of a sudden you are going to give your online business so much credibility. They're going to walk through the stores of your best customer is going to walk through the stores that they frequent already and be like, oh, there's Classic Juice Co. I, you know, just saw an ad for them online. They must be legit. Okay. Or they must be pretty good. Look, my favorite health food store is carrying them. So if you want to choose both B2B and B2C in your case, you may not be able to turn down the B2C relationships and the B2C partnerships. However, I will caution anyone in this situation. It's a question of, can you fulfill both and fulfill them well? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the logistics? Do you have the supply chain to fulfill both a B2C and a B2B model? A B2B model, a business to business model versus a business to consumer model can be very, very demanding and challenging. And the last thing you want to do is put out a product or put out a service that is not up to your standard of quality, because you're spreading yourself so thin. So these are some things that you have to think about. For launch, we do recommend that you pick one stream and you perfect those back end items, the logistics, the supply chain. If you're working with a co-packer, making sure that all of that is kind of fine-tuned and going really smoothly with one segment of the market before you go ahead and jump into the next. Another really popular question we get, I think Diane in our workshop yesterday, we got this question, was you're doing your thing, you're B2C, everything's going really great. And then all of a sudden a business really gets wind of what you're doing, gets excited about you and calls you up and says, hey, can you do this for me in this way? So serving B2C and serving B2B are very two different beasts, and may force you to change the way you do business. If you are too early, or you just launched, or you are just a one-person show, you may not have the capacity to fulfill both. My advice to you in those cases are go back to your compelling value in stage one, understand exactly how true to your business you want to be, who you are, have a really strong understanding of who you are, what you're offering to your best customer, and make your decisions that way. If you are not going to be happy fulfilling both a B2C and a B2B model, if you're going to be spread too thin, and if your product is going to suffer, your product or your service, and the quality and standard of it is going to suffer because you're trying to be something for everyone, that's not a sustainable business model for you in the long run. So you're going to have to make some decisions. Shelly, in your case, you may have been a B2C model and you're gaining all this really great sales traction already. And you've placed amongst your peers really, really well in some of these award type of things that you were talking about earlier. And maybe now the businesses are taking notice and are calling. That probably is a good sign and a good time for you. If you are pre-launch and haven't made any sales yet, and your customers have not spoken to you yet and told you what they like and don't like about your business, it may be too early to try to chase both.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Shelly, did that answer your question? I know I said a lot there.
No, you've touched on a lot of great points, including being spread thinly. So yes, that's kind of what has happened, is that business have approached us to do things, and we've accepted it, but it has spread us a little bit thin. So that's why I'm here to kind of just figure out and make a roadmap that incorporated both, because we enjoy doing both.
Yep.
And we're having success with both, but it's a lot.
So Shelly, if you are enjoying doing both, and this is something that you got really excited about when you were starting to get this interest, go back to your cash flow. Start crunching the numbers to see what you need to do to fulfill both. That's going to be, let the money talk at this stage. Do you have enough capital? Do you have enough resources? Do you have enough people to help you fulfill both the B2C and B2B model?
Okay.
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 Karina, you had a question. Did you want to unmute yourself and ask it, or do you want me to read it out?
I can ask it. Yeah,
Oh.
I have two. My first question is, how many people should you interview before launching during the market research stage? And then also, what is the sign that you shouldn't launch during the market research stage?
Okay, this is a really interesting question. So market research experts will tell you, they'll call it the point of saturation. So I have a lot of feelings about this, but I'll share some of them with you. So the point of saturation is essentially when you survey enough customers and you start hearing the same thing. Then that means that you have, you've interviewed enough people, you're ready to go, your market research is over. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's so simple. I've tried it myself. If you are not asking the right questions, this could really lead you astray or lead you, to the wrong place. So there's definitely not a magic number. I think a really good sampling it depends on your industry, but would be once you get a handful of paying customers who come back to you and purchase from you again, whether you're a product or you're a service, that sample of people, however that is, or however big that is for your industry, that is going to be where you're going to start to pull themes. If you are a business and you have 5 customers and they keep coming back to you every, reordering or coming back for your service or whatever it is, those 5 customers may be enough of a validation for you to start pulling themes from them. What are some of the best traits? What are some of the common traits from these 5 customers who keep coming back and keep, resonating with your product? Okay. So it doesn't have to necessarily be, I need to survey 100 people and, or I need to survey 20 people. It's not going to be a magic number. It's more so putting it out there, and whoever's paying for it, listen to them first. Okay. Let's follow the money a little bit that way. If somebody is doing a really great interview for you and they never check out of their cart, or they just say, yeah, this is a great idea. Yeah, sure. And they never turn into a customer, that they haven't validated your business. So your market research for that person was really, they're not your best customer. They're not somebody you should be spending time with. So a little bit of a soft launch, a little bit of a, testimonials, gaining testimonials from people who are using your product. That could be what you do there. A lot of businesses too, if you don't want to worry about, paying customers just yet, sampling is amazing. Friends and family, and I'm going to tell this to the whole room, is a legit marketing research strategy. Your friends and family are hopefully not going to charge you, and they're going to be brutally honest with you. I had an entrepreneur who was starting a baby clothing line. She never tested her product. I said, hey, her sister has 2 kids. Her best friend has a baby. She has 2 kids of her own. Use your product, sample it, wash it, spill stuff on it, see how many, how long it's going to last before a kid outgrows it. What's the quality like? Friends and family testimonials for your product or your service is really great because they're going to be really honest with you because they want to see you do well. So that could definitely be an option for you as well. And it doesn't have to be, there's no magic number there. To answer your next question, Karina, what is a sign that you shouldn't launch during the market research stage? If you haven't gotten any, if you haven't gotten any themes or commonality from any of the people that you're talking to or who are sampling your product, definitely if you haven't gotten any sales yet, maybe you're not attracting your best customer. So in the example I gave earlier about, the streetwear brand who was she's putting all this money into paid ads for this demographic and she wasn't seeing enough sales. It wasn't until, she expanded it a little bit. She tried something else and she tested it in a different way that, she was able to realize that no, she was just targeting the wrong age group. So the sign that you shouldn't launch during market research stage is when, you're not getting great feedback from your product. People aren't excited about it. Your friends and family are like, yeah, I washed this once and look what happened. Or, they're just not excited about it. You're going to get to feel the energy and the excitement of the people that you're talking to and are sampling your product with or using your service with. And then of course, your paying customers are really going to be the ones who you're going to want to listen to the most.
I guess for my situation, I'm thinking about starting a private school. So like credit courses.
Yep.
So it is a little bit different because I guess a soft launch, would be running a program. But giving out credits, you would have to be accredited and pay for that, etc. So I guess the thing that I'm having a little trouble with is understanding exactly what a soft launch would look like.
Yep.
In a model like that. And also wondering what are the risks of starting too small? Or is that even a thing that can exist of starting too small for something?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any risk in starting too small. There's something to be said about kind of closing your eyes and going all in.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to validate the model on a small scale before you sink huge dollars into something. In the case of a private school, before you can even get accredited, and I don't know much about that industry and what that process looks like, but is it possible that you can run a camp or an online course and see what kind of response you get?
I think that is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great validation because then all of a sudden you put out this online course, or maybe it's a 10-week program that kids can take after school or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden parents are saying, oh my God, Karina, I love this model you're teaching, or this way of teaching. And my child's really resonating with these courses. I want more. Let them do the talking. If you're looking to open up a brick and mortar location, it may be focusing in on some of your validation and your testing in the location and the neighborhood that you may want to open up this school, because it's really going to be pretty location based. You're a brand new business. Parents aren't traveling just yet to a brand new business that doesn't have a brand reputation just yet. drive their kid to school. Maybe it is just going to be location based. Hey, this is a new private school opened up in this area. You know, you're going to want people in that neighborhood maybe to already be familiar with you already, if you've gotten that far ahead in your business where you're dreaming about a location.
Right.
Okay. So you're really going to want to figure out how you're going to test out your style of you know, education on a really small scale, just to get some feedback from parents in real life.
Okay. That helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Cool. Great questions. Yeah, for sure.
One more question from Matthew in the chat as well. So he's asking, shouldn't you launch as soon as possible to get user feedback?
Matthew, do you want to unmute yourself? What do you mean? As soon as possible in terms of what? Oh, there you are, Matthew.
Hello. Okay, sorry.
Hi.
So yeah, I have I guess most of the businesses here are like products, but mine's like a software. So at least for software cases, shouldn't you launch the software product as soon as possible to like just an MVP, then get the user feedback, because you don't want to build the entire thing, and then like you said, like shooting for the wrong demographic. So I always thought that for at least software, like obviously I'm sure it's different with physical products. It makes the most sense to launch first, get user feedback, and then reiterate on the next version.
Yeah. So with any sort of softwares or platforms, you're going to want to have an MVP built. Your MVP is your minimum viable product. It is the basic, you know, interface, the basic user experience, no fancy features, no bells and whistles that you're going to be testing with your what you think is your best customer. Work through some of those kinks, let that particular customer tell you what's wrong with the software before you go ahead and build out the entire thing, before you go ahead and, you know, launch it out there. So Matthew, I think you're definitely on the right track. Test your MVP, but you don't have to launch to do that. You can just get 1 or 2 test customers using the product and giving you feedback on it. Absolutely. Before you take it out there into the world and build the whole backend system and the whole bit. So okay, you're definitely on the right track that way. Okay, don't build it all until you get that customer feedback. And then you may find out too, like I had it was a really interesting story. A friend of mine, he launched a business where he was going to be the next, it was like a photo sharing app, you know, privately. And he was really targeting parents. Because, you know, some parents are concerned about sharing their kids' pictures on social media and whatnot. And he came to realize after doing a lot of market research that the parents really didn't care so much about it as he thought it was, as he thought they did. So what he was going to do was he ended up taking his photo sharing platform, and he totally pivoted his model, and his application ended up being used in construction. So amongst project management, construction folks who were sharing, you know, on-site progress pictures through this secured software that he had created originally for sharing baby pictures. So he definitely used his MVP to test it with a particular model, realized that it was fine, but it wasn't as scalable as he thought it was. So he switched up his best customer based on some market research and market validation that he went through.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a really neat story. I was really proud of him. Jeff, let's do your question, and then we're going to take a little bit of a break. Did you want to unmute yourself, Jeff? There you are.
Sorry, I couldn't find my picture.
Okay, I was trying to find you too. You're right there.
So working with my mentor through the business bounce back program we have going up here, she's asked me to come up with a questionnaire for people before I do my focus group initial rides, and then do another one afterwards. Because again, as you said, use friends and family as legitimate feedback. Yep. She's saying friends and family will lie to you and, and tell you what you want to hear. Say, oh yeah, it was great. They rode off a cliff, but it was fun all the way down. No, but so she's saying, like, try and get one, because people, I don't know that anybody here has ridden a bike like this. They're kind of unique, but what, so what do they expect it to be? Because, you see e-bike tours, you see the winery tours where they get on the little two-wheel bike and they all ride in a group. And these are similar to that, only these ones you don't fall over. You don't have to put your foot down every time you come to a stop. You can just stop and talk because you already have a seat you're sitting on that's fully balanced. They have the big, fat tire wheels on them, big, huge basket on the back, if you happen to buy a case of wine and want to bring it home. Or not just wine tours, but we're going to start probably with like fall color tours.
You had me at wine, Jeff.
I know everybody falls for that one.
I'm like, I would never use a bike like that until you talked about the wine tour. I was like, hey, big secure wheels. I may just try it.
I thought it was going to be kind of gimmicky and seasonal as well. The first two that we got were in December, and we actually rode across Keswick to do our grocery shopping all
Really
winter
cool.
long.
Cool.
We rode them out on the lake in the winter. They're very stable, lots of traction, and hella fun.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
So Jeff, I would push back on your mentor there a little bit, but again,
she scares me.
Because I can, and she doesn't know me. Like for your particular product. So I agree with her in some industries, friends and family will lie to you and the whole bit and whatever it is. But I'm more looking at, you're launching a new business. You don't have that many resources. You're focused on business operations and all these other things. Like your friends and family are right there. It's easy. They're accessible. For a product like yours, which is why I would push back on her advice, is if they use it and they fall off, that's feedback for you right there. Like exactly. if you want to do something like, like wine tours for Jane Does like me who don't do anything adventurous. I don't even like ride my bike as much as I should, that sort of thing. If you are going to try to reach the masses and scale your business, you're going to need all kinds of people trying this out and giving you feedback. And your friends and family, some of them are going to be really great at it. Some people are going to be like, that's not for me. Well, hey, get on it anyway, and let me see how it goes. I might be your best uncoordinated friend, Jeff. I might be the best person that you want testing out your product, because you want to make sure that if I fall off, does it break? Do I hurt myself? A little bit more back to that insurance woes you're having. I think the people who are less experienced with it, who may be part of your friends and family circle, might give you the most valuable feedback. So I wouldn't look at it so much as, yes, you need a survey before and a survey after. Your type of product, you're really going to get a lot of feedback right there in front of you. Maybe even take some video of different types of people using it. Is it easy to get on? Is it easy to get off? If I'm taller, am I going to be more successful on this than somebody who's smaller or shorter? Those types of things you're going to want to look at. So I wouldn't pigeonhole myself to having like an official focus group only. You can definitely do that. That's going to be really valuable for your business, but you can definitely reach more people. And your friends and family, if they fall off, they won't be upset with you.
You don't know them.
So to answer your question, definitely a before and after is going to be something interesting. And in your case too.
So I can keep it to like 5 questions or
keep it to a couple questions, keep it to a couple questions, maybe even target people who are using your indirect competitors. So it sounds like you have something really cool and unique going on. Let's use the wine tours as an example. All of those people who are taking wine tours or these fall color tours and they're riding bicycles, maybe you're going to want to chat with them about their habits. Hey, you're on the bicycle. How do you feel? Would you like to try something a little faster? Are you, taking too long to get back to your hotel or your destination, whatever it is? Those are the types of open-ended questions that you're going to be wanting to ask of your potential best customer.
Okay.
Okay. That could be an avenue to take.
Thank you.
Shivani might lose friends if they fall off. Yeah. But cost of doing business. Right. Okay. So thank you for sharing your business about your businesses, Jeff. and Karina and Matthew. I know I can go on all day, but I love having this Q&A and hearing from your real life businesses. I think this is really rich in terms of being able to share with your fellow entrepreneurs and learn from each other, more so than anything I can kind of go on and on about on the screen here. So let me go through a couple more slides and then we'll break for another Q&A at the end. And I just fed my little one some ice cream. So I'm also available to hang back a little bit if anyone has any burning questions. Okay, so stage 3 is sales and marketing. Now, we've done all of our market research. We've done all of our market validation. Now we are ready to do our marketing strategy and our marketing plan. Pricing strategy. I'm just going to touch on this really, really quickly. And if we have any questions, we could save it for the end, because again, we could probably talk about pricing in a whole, session by itself. With your pricing strategy, you want to come in line with your competitors. If you are a premium, unique brand, unique baked goods, nowhere on the market, no one on the market's doing what you're doing. Maybe you're coming in premium at a premium price point, and that's okay, even for a brand new business. The one piece of advice that I would give to all of our entrepreneurs is don't compete on price. Don't come in as the cheapest person in the game. It may allow, it won't allow any room for you to increase those prices later. So it may affect your margins a little bit. And on the other side of that, you're a brand new company, you're a brand new business. You don't have a brand reputation yet. You haven't built that trust with your customer base yet. You don't want your lower price point to be synonymous with lesser quality. Okay. At the very least, just come in where your competitors are priced, if you're concerned about that. Your marketing strategy, we'll talk a little bit about this in a little bit more detail. Again, you don't have a brand positioning just yet. This is where you kind of are going to start to grow that. What are your top marketing activities? Okay, what is this going to look like for you? Most of you in the room today are going to say social media. That's great. What social media platforms are your best customers using? Okay, having that really strong understanding of your best customer that we talked about and those 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 traits, common traits. Where are they spending time online? Those are going to be the platforms that you're going to want to spend time on and your resources towards in terms of your marketing activities. Okay. In your business plan, you're also going to talk a little bit about your sales process. We want your sales cycle and your timeline. What does this look like from the time your customer engages with your advertisement or hears about your brand to the time where you've fulfilled their order? You've completed the service, you've delivered your product. What does this look like? And don't be afraid of the details in your business plan. Okay. The more detail, the better. Tell us a little bit about what email confirmations are they getting? Walk through your process with your customer as you were the customer. Are you spamming them too much? Are they getting too many emails confirming that their item has been shipped or whatever it is? Is there enough touch point from the time they engage with your ad to the time they actually check out of their cart? Do you need an extra touch point in there as a reminder, an extra nudge? All of those things in the sales process should be mapped out in your business plan, so you can take a step back and get an idea and get a sense of what that looks like. Okay, strategic alliances. This is my favorite sales and marketing tool. Strategic alliances are a little undervalued in the marketing 7, if you will. These are going to be brand ambassadors in the industry with you. Let's use the juice company as an example. If you are in a particular location where you know that there are like-minded businesses in your area who are reaching your same best customer, those are going to be the strategic alliances that you're going to want to build. I used the example earlier of, I'm a wellness conscious, younger, married female, and I have a little bit of disposable income. I'm going to my local health food store or Whole Foods. I'm spending a little bit more on my groceries. I'm going to visit the juice bar, and then I'm going to my Pilates studio. All of those businesses in between where she lives and works and plays are going to be potential strategic alliances and partnerships that you're going to want to build. It could simply be cross-promoting with the Pilates studio. It could be leaving flyers there. It could be sampling at one of their events. things like that. Win-win situations or trade-off situations would look like, cross-promoting between each other, any sort of sponsorship or co-advertising, or sharing a little bit about your partnership if it's really great synergy and compatibility with these other businesses. Let people in the industry or people who are reaching your same best customer be your brand ambassadors. Okay, your strategic alliances can look really neat this way. An example of this, we have an entrepreneur who runs a contracting company. This particular renovations company has paired up with the local real estate agent in their particular location, who really works with first-time home buyers and people who buy older homes and renovate them and flip them. The real estate agent drives business to the renovator drives business to the real estate agent. They're all in the same industry, very complementary, and that's a really great partnership that kind of funnels business back and forth to each other. So those are some things to be thinking about when you're talking about sales and marketing. Now let's go to the activities. The sales and marketing activities, and then we'll break for questions after this section. You're going to want to have a top three to five marketing activities is kind of key here. It's going to be the action plan that is going to generate sales really quickly. Okay. And then we're going to talk a little bit about results and what you foresee will happen here from a results perspective. Be very, very specific. Again, back to social media. Pick a platform. We want to know exactly which platform you're using. You can't say all of them. You got to pick a few or pick one. And you're going to have to provide us with a budget as to exactly how much you're spending. A big challenge for new entrepreneurs is underestimating their advertising spend. Okay. You want to maybe even over budget for this piece, because you're going to want to make sure you're investing pretty well into your sales and marketing activities, so you can make some calculated sales assumptions about how many people are coming through your doors or visiting your website or using your service.
Faaria, we have a question in the chat. Is it a good idea to partner with YouTube influencers?
This is a really great question. It's a really popular question too. YouTube influencers, potentially, if they can actually show you data and proof that their posts really reach a lot of real people in your best customer range. Okay, so let's say you're a beauty product. You have a lot of influencers who your best customers follow. You're launching a new mascara brand, really great, chemical free, paraben free, the whole bit. And you want to send out some free product to some influencers to post for you. One, you have to really understand what their contract looks like and how much it costs. A lot of these influencers, if they have any sort of reach that's going to be valuable for your business, they may charge you a lot for it. You want to make sure you're budgeting appropriately for that type of spend. Two, you're going to want to make sure you're budgeting your promotional cost in terms of the cost of the product that you're sending out, you're giving away for free within your marketing strategy budget as well. So, I mean, I would definitely want to see what these influencers have done for other brands before working with them. And you want to see that they have a decent following of real followers too. No, a lot of influencers have a lot of bots and a lot of people who may not even reach your target audience. So you want to be really careful about that. Okay. So definitely YouTube influencers are definitely a legit marketing activity. In the case that you want to use them, you would be filling out this section in your business plan. Your marketing activity will be YouTube influencers. Your action taken would be you're going to reach out to, 4 influencers. They're going to post for you once a month. It's going to cost you this much in product, this much in time, this much is their influencer rate or fee, and this is how many people they're going to reach. You could even get as detailed as listing who those 4 influencers are and what their following is. Jane Beauty, she is going to be posting for me once a month, and she has 100,000 followers. Great, she's going to reach 100,000 people. How many of those people will actually convert into selling customers? Is it a 1% conversion rate? Is it a 0.5% conversion rate? That is going to tell you exactly how many people Jane Beauty is going to reach for you and turn into your customers. those are the types of details we want. And if they're a good influencer, they'll be able to provide you with their own conversion rates. So here's another example. One of our entrepreneurs has a keto baking mix. So it is a keto-friendly baking mix that she plans to sell directly to health food stores. Her action, she visits the store managers with the products in hand for sampling, and she visits 16 stores a month. This is how much it's going to cost her in samples, and this is how much it's going to cost her in time. Now, I think one of the really key important things to think about when you're looking at your marketing activities is, what is your capacity? A lot of you are one person shows out there. What is your capacity? Can you afford to devote 20 hours a week to this particular marketing activity? Do you have the time? If you don't have the time and you're hiring someone, all of a sudden this cost of this marketing activity is going to go up. So I really want you to do a lot of soul searching that way, not just in terms of how much this is costing you financially, but how much it's costing you in time. I have an entrepreneur who was selling, a service that his door-to-door marketing activity model was really suitable for his business. And he underestimated how much time he'd have to spend being out there in the neighborhoods, knocking on doors. It's going to take him away from the business operations. It's going to take away from him doing the actual service he's promoting. And he didn't necessarily have the marketing budget to hire somebody to do that on his behalf. Okay, so this is something you need to think about. Interest in sales. So for every 4 stores that my keto baking mix entrepreneur visits, 2 of those stores will be interested, and every second store is going to buy a case from her each month. And this is going to be her way of determining what her sales assumptions are going to be when we get to the cash flow analysis that we're going to look at in a few slides. Okay, so this is just a really broad example of what a marketing activity could look like for you. Okay, so for sake of time, I'm going to skip this Q&A and we're going to kind of zip through here. 4 key questions to ask yourself, again, to recap: what's your idea? What's your business? What's your compelling value? Who are you? And who are you as a business? And you're going to want to stay true to that. Who is your target market? Who's your best customer? And what are you offering to your best customer that they can't get elsewhere? Okay, a little bit of that competitor analysis. And your business plan needs to let us know who you are. Let your personality shine. Don't be modest. Brag about yourself. That's what we want to hear in your business plan. Okay, so that's just to recap the first few stages. Stage 4, I won't spend a lot of time here, but I do encourage you to highlight this section. You're going to get what's called a focused business plan in the email Diana will send out in a couple days. It's going to include all of these sections written out with a lot of clear details. Stage 4 in your operations, make some notes for the sessions that you're going to attend with Founder Fundamentals later in the next few weeks. Talk about those legal issues. Does your business have a lot of regulatory items? If you're opening up a daycare facility, there's tons of permits you need. If you're opening up a food establishment, what does that look like in terms of licenses and regulatory items? One of our entrepreneurs just opened up a Botox clinic out of her home. She's a registered nurse. She has a medical director, but that also comes with some health and safety standards that she needs to keep up with not only the association that governs her industry, but with the Ministry of Health. So these are things that she needs to be thinking about now for her business. Again, get free legal advice wherever you can. Ask your legal expert as part of this program as many questions as you need. Okay, they're going to want to share their information with you too, because maybe that's a really great way for them to get leads for their own business. You never know. Insurance issues. I know some of us in the group are working through that, especially if you have something that is pretty risky. And then with us here at Futurpreneur, for instance, or a lot of lenders, they're going to want to see that you have liability only insurance at the very least. A lot of companies and a lot of those big insurance companies, if you call their 1-800 numbers and talk to one of their representatives, they're going to want to talk to you. They're definitely going to want to maybe leave the door open and nudge to see if you could potentially be a customer with them. So definitely pick their brains, ask as many questions as you need about what you think you're going to need from your business from an insurance perspective. HR is pretty self-explanatory. Not a lot of you are going to have huge HR concerns at this stage in your business. Maybe you have a really small team. But this is something definitely to think about and work through in your business plan. You can even write down some milestones here about people you want to hire and grow and expand your team with in your phased approach for your business. The really important part here for operations is going to be process and production. This is really, really key. You have to tell us what the back end systems of your business looks like. This is going to be where you talk a lot about your supply chain, your logistics, your suppliers. For instance, if you have international suppliers, especially, if any interruption happens to their business, we need to make sure that there's no interruption to your business, which means we need to see that you have contingency and backup suppliers ready to go to fulfill your orders for your customers in the event one of your suppliers or your vendors goes MIA or stops returning your calls, or who knows what happens. And this goes for local or international suppliers as well. We want to see a lot of detail about what that looks like. Okay. If you are bringing in particular products from overseas, especially, we may need to see a little bit more information about their credibility and vetting a little bit more about their types of business. I have an entrepreneur who sells teas, and she imports them from Africa. She had to provide us with a lot of information about the farm that is producing her raw materials that she's bringing over here, just to make sure that they're following their local standards, and then they meet some of our import-export standards here in Canada. So your Small Business Enterprise Center will help you with a lot of these items. Export Development Canada, your local ECDEV office as well, if you have a really specific type of business that requires a little bit more detail about these types of things for your particular business. And then finally, the risk assessment. This is where we want you in these really positive, optimistic days, early days of your business, to be planning for the worst a little bit. So you're going to have to do a little bit of soul searching to figure out, okay, when am I going to call it for my business? Set some goals this way in terms of worst case scenario, just to make sure that when your business needs a pivot or when your business simply needs to close its doors. Okay, so these are just some operational things to think about when you get to the stage 4 of the business plan. Are there any questions here, Diana?
Nope, we are good.
Let's go on to the last stage, and then we'll have a lot of time to sit back and relax with some Q&A. So here are your financials. This is where you are going to tell us all about how much money you need to get your business going. A lot of you in the room today are pre-launch. You haven't launched yet. Crunch your numbers here. Let us know what this looks like for you. If you don't come through our Futurpreneur program, just delete the little cells that talk about the loan funding. And this is a really great tool and template. Formulas are already populated in here where you can crunch some of these startup cost numbers. Your startup costs, think of them as one-time spends. Think of this as your shopping list when you, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm investing this money into my business bank account. Here's my shopping list right off the bat. Here's what I need to spend on. I need to spend last month's rent on my brick and mortar location. It needs a little bit of renos. I have to incorporate my business. I'm going to pay yearly for my business insurance to get it out of the way. These are your one-time costs. The way we look at your cash flow, money in, money out, think of it as your big budget in your business bank account. Where's the money going and coming from? And if at any point you're in the red at the bottom of our cash flow, it means you've simply run out of dollars. You can't pay your bills for the next month. And that's going to be where you need to revisit your sales. Maybe your sales aren't high enough, your expenses are too much, or both. Okay. In your cash flow year 1, and this template will be emailed to you as well, a link to it. There's a 3-part video series as well that our Entrepreneur in Residence has recorded, kind of guiding you through some of these pieces. This is where you're going to put in your sales assumptions. Okay. You're going to put in how many customers you expect to get, how many hours of your professional service maybe you're offering each month. You could do number of units you expect to sell if you have a particular product. All of that is going to be indicated here. You're going to want to reflect any seasonality for your business as well. A lot of us have seasonality to our businesses. If you have peak times or if you're offering something that is only for a limited time, we need to see what that looks like here. Okay, this is where you can indicate your funding sources and your inventory costs. So you can indicate your inventory costs as a % of your sales if you're a food-based business or a product-based business. This will automatically calculate for you exactly how much you're going to make each month, minus your costs. Okay. Another thing here for our last kind of slide is the expense section. This can be customized to suit the needs of your business. For instance, if you're a professional services business and you have particular softwares you need to spend on, that's where you can add a line for what that looks like. One really important point that I want to make here is so many of us in the entrepreneurial community are used to, the days of the starving entrepreneur, where we're sinking every last dollar we have back into our business. That's not how we look at it here at Futurpreneur. We want to see that you are running your business and making decisions from a place of strength, not desperation. You need to show us that you have taken pressure off of your personal financial life, and you've already included and budgeted for some sort of owner's draw or personal salary here. It doesn't have to be huge dollars. It just has to be enough that we can see that you can sustain yourself outside of the business. You can pay your rent, you can pay your mortgage, you can eat, those types of things. If you can take pressure off of your personal financial life, you'll be running a business from a happier place and making some more solid decisions for your business. So that's what we look at here when we're talking about owner's draw. It's a mandatory field for us here at Futurpreneur, just to drive home that sentiment. Okay. So we're going to come back to the Q&A. Again, I'm going to take literally 3 minutes to share with you a little bit about our Futurpreneur program. Again, if you're young at heart, no worries. You can still access all of the educational resources that Diana is going to send you after the call today. And if you are interested in being contacted, I'll share my contact information and you can reach out to me to talk about our financing program. Okay. Our bread and butter here at Futurpreneur is we provide a $60,000 unsecured loan to our entrepreneurs. It's personally guaranteed, but it is collateral free. And it's for entrepreneurs between the ages of 18 and 39 only. It comes with 2 years of hand match mentorship. All of our programs do. Once you have a loan with us, you're automatically paired with a mentor. Okay, it's a really unique part of our program. And we have a lot of cool resources and workshops and support from our entrepreneurs and residents and such. We have specialized programming for Indigenous entrepreneurs and for Black entrepreneurs with our newly launched Black Entrepreneur Startup Program. With both of these programs, you can connect with a business development manager such as myself, who has lived experience and who can share resources for your local community there. We also have a side hustle program. It's a really neat program, smaller dollar value, $15,000 for entrepreneurs who aren't ready to take the plunge full time just yet and want to have a little bit of dollars to invest in your part-time business. Okay, same mentorship program comes with that. And here's my info. Diana's going to send all of my contact info out after the call today. So don't be worried about that. And all of you are very welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to kind of chat with you. We're all on our phones way too much these days, so I'll probably reply to your message pretty quickly if you have any specific questions. Social media, things like that are always fun to be on as well, if that's something that you're interested in. Dia, you want to see the Indigenous business slide again? Sure. Did you want to ask any questions specifically about that program? Okay, let me go back to that real quick.
Oh, she just wants to send it over to someone. So.
Oh, I see. Are you taking a screenshot? That's okay. I'll give you a second to do that.
Yeah, and Faaria, we also have our last poll as well. I don't know if we want to do that now.
Yes, please. Thank you for reminding me. I always forget this last one, and I think it's a little bit more important than the first.
I have a quick question about the $15,000 loan. What is the age requirement?
It's the same. All of our programs are 18 to 39.
Okay, thank you.
So we won't be sending out a copy of the presentation, but all of the links that Diana is going to send you have all of this content that I talked about. And the focus business plan is actually a lot more detailed than the slides. So you're actually getting a little bit of a better document, if you ask me. So thank you to all of you who participated in the poll. Oh, this is great. So 9 of you feel really prepared. and 16 of you feel somewhat ready, but you have more work to do. I feel that way. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm probably always going to sit in that section there. I feel it's the plight of the female founder. We're never quite sure of ourselves as we should be. I feel overwhelmed. So for the 3 of you who feel overwhelmed, this is number 1 of the workshop series that you've attended. You've taken a really great step into, taking control of your entrepreneurial journey and doing something about it and learning and taking in all of this information. So hopefully that feeling subsides as you take in more information. Information's power, right? So speaking of that, if you were to stick Futurpreneur into Eventbrite, all of our free workshops will pop up for you. Feel free to attend any of them. We have right now what's called Rock My Business. It's a really cool workshop series we have in conjunction with our partners at RBC. It's a really great deep dive through everything I just talked about in 2 hours. They do it in 9 over the course of 3 sessions. So if that's something that interests you, please feel free to attend. I think the link to that is going to be in the resources that Diane is going to send you as well. Okay. So we have 8 minutes to spare. I'm always amazed at myself when I could do this within the time slot I'm given. So yeah, any questions like to wrap it up tonight? I'm happy to hang back again, as I mentioned too. If anyone wants to raise their hand or stick something in the chat box. Oh, thank you, Jay.
I know we had a lot of questions throughout the session. So
yes, I
everyone
always love
all
that.
Questioned out now.
Yes, I love that when you're kind of doing the back and forth. It really helps give examples to some of the content.
I see Rose has her hand raised.
Rose,
So
go for it.
Hi guys. So this was very informative. I have a question with regards to the best customer. So I've been doing this side hustle for a few years, just, working full time and then doing this. What I do is custom cakes, wedding cakes. Now I've brought in some pastries and stuff, just because I found that there is none that I would want to go. There is none of the types of pastries and so on that I would want. I'd have to travel down to Newmarket or go down to Toronto or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But my problem is always, what is my best customer? I'm always trying to figure out, how do I put my customer into a box? Sorry about the doggy. She's a little.
That's okay. My little humans are making noise out there too.
Right. So that's always like where I get stumped. It's like, because of what I make and what I do and provide is literally for anything. And it's not, I went into it thinking it's only going to be for happy occasions, mm-hmm. but there are times when it's not such a happy occasion. I still ask for the services or for the products. Yeah. And so I don't know how to put my customer in that box of what is my best customer. It's always a family or a corporate, a corporation, a business on the side, providing for meetings, schools, whatever the case is. It's just such a big umbrella. Yeah. How do I incorporate?
So Rose, you answered a lot of your question in the description that you just gave me. Okay. You're in a really great position. You're in I'm a little jelly. You're in the position where you actually have sales. You actually have data at your fingertips. Yes. It doesn't have to be so with all that. Yes, exactly. You're going to want to pick out a lot of themes from what you just said. You mentioned you have a lot of families who come to you. You're now getting some corporate interests for some of those events. You have 2 best customers right there already. Okay, you're doing a B2B, you have a B2B model going and a B2C model going. Like, we can talk a little bit about those logistics after, the woes that come with that, but do a little bit of analysis on those 2 groups, on those 2 segments right there, and find your best 4 to 5 traits of each group. What types of corporations are out there, and what are they asking for? Are corporations looking for cupcakes rather than cakes? Are families looking for celebration cakes, or are they looking more for your pastries? Try to dive a little bit deeper. Now, families come in all shapes and sizes. Are there any themes to your families? One, are particular cultures really resonating with your product? Are you targeting big families, with your product? Or, is it for smaller occasions? Those are all of the types of research that you can do with data that you have at your fingertips.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Does
how
that
do I
help?
incorporate that into the business plan?
Yes.
So once I kind of
Yep.
break that down, then I present that as, well, I've already been doing this, and I've brought, this particular,
Yep.
like I went from customs, right? Customs, weddings and birthdays and so on. And it is for, it is premium pricing, right? Because
Yep.
it's for those functions, right?
Yep.
But do I just take that and implement it into the business plan saying, yes, I have had this whole spectrum,
Yep.
but
Exactly.
I'm
But now
also
you're going to
incorporating-
focus on this. So
Okay.
to scale your business, you may not be able to be something for everyone as you grow, unless you're going
Right.
to hire a big team. But as you grow, maybe you're just going to focus on some of those bigger ticket items. So I'll give you an example. In our cash flow forecast, we only permit that you enter 4 categories of sales. We want your top 4 sellers or your top 4 segments of your business that you're going to focus on. You're not allowed to add any more cells. That's where you need to kind of focus your business on. So celebration cakes, are those going to be high ticket items for you? Is that where you're going to focus on? For a business like yours, you're going to want to drill down to capacity. How many cakes can you make in a month? How many cupcakes are you going to make in a month? You can start there and then drill down from there. So if you have too many customized items in a month and you're getting too much sales traction, you won't be able to fulfill that. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research as to what your product line is going to look like based on your capacity. And it could simply be too, like, this is going to sound really cheesy, but focus in on the products and the things that you enjoy the most. If you're scaling a business and you're growing it, do more of what you love. If you love making the celebration cakes and you find cupcakes tedious, and I'm using a very general example here, I don't bake, go with that. Figure out what you want to be as a business. To determine where you're going to channel your resources into. So when you're talking about your best customer and you're doing some of that analysis, is majority, of your margins coming from those big celebration cakes? Is that where the money is? Is that what gets you excited about your business? Or are you really enjoying this B2B model and fulfilling some of these wholesale corporate orders? Is that really where you want to focus on? You are at the position of your business where you can branch away from just maybe that one best customer. And now you're kind of focusing a little bit more on who you want to be as you grow.
Okay. That makes total sense. Thank you.
Cool.
And I see a number of people in the chat are asking if we have a business plan and we create it, who can we run it by to do that review and give us some feedback?
Yeah. So if you are interested in our Futurepreneur program and you're, age eligible, you are welcome to reach out to me. I'll be happy to do a business plan review with you one-on-one. And your Small Business Enterprise Center. I don't know if Tiffany's still on the call. I don't see her box anymore. Your Small Business Enterprise Center has small business advisors ready and waiting. They are really excited about this. Definitely reach out to them. There's one in your local area. If you stick Small Business Enterprise Center into your search bar, it's an ontario.ca website. You can find the local center in your area. They're all partners of ours too. So if you are thinking about our program, they'll let you know when is a good time to reach out to us too at Futurepreneur.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Why is the cutoff age at 39? And the other thing I was going to ask, what have you available for seniors or people with disabilities?
That's a really great question. I think maybe Diana or Nicole, you can weigh in on some of those resources. And your Small Business Enterprise Center too, Mel, will be able to give you some of those more local resources. To answer your first question is a question we get a lot, unfortunately. It was just the way our program was designed. A lot of our younger entrepreneurs don't have a lot of collateral to put up for business loans. So we're filling that gap in the marketplace. But I do wish it was a little bit broader, but that's just the way our program was designed for the last couple of decades.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Mel, I know you're a part of our Business Bounce Back program, and I see a lot of individuals here from that program as well. So shout out to all of them. But yeah, in terms of Y Space, we do offer programs and services for anyone, regardless of age. So I will be sending that link out to as a follow-up to all of you, so you can check out all of the the other programs and services that we have for you that are available. See another question in the chat. So do you have a platform where we can network to potential business partners?
Here at Futurepreneur, we don't. But again, that might be a really great question for your local small business enterprise center. The really cool benefit to your SBECs are that they're ear to the ground in your local community. So especially for some of you I saw are from some smaller towns, maybe they would have definitely the local resources that are available and the local networks to all tapped into. So they'd be a really great resource for those networking opportunities.
Yeah, and I encourage you all to use these events and these workshops as networking opportunities. A lot of times I've seen people put their LinkedIn profiles or profiles to their business websites in the chat. So feel free to do so and network with your fellow entrepreneurs.
Amazing. 8:02. All right.
Okay, I think we are good.
Yes.
We had so many interactions, so many questions throughout the session. Time just flew by, but Faaria, I really want to thank you for taking the time to do this again for us.
I always have so much fun. Thank you to all the entrepreneurs who shared their personal businesses and stories too.
Yeah, and I think through the stories, it's each time we learn something new through all of the examples and the different individuals that are joining us. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to do that and share all of the resources that Futurepreneur offers. So to all of the attendees, I will be sending a follow-up email which will include all of the resources that we discussed today with all of the links. That will include the business plan writer that we spoke about as well. We will be including the links to all of the Y Space and the Markham Small Business Center resources. And once the recording is ready, I will be sending out the link to everyone, which will be posted on our YouTube page. Perfect. Thanks so much, Faaria. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. And we hope to see you again next week. Take care.